Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Wendy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vivek Sharma, and I'm a senior product manager for Best Practice Assessment, aka BPA tool. I'm really excited to talk about a feature that we added in BPA for our Prisma Access customers. And this feature is called as Prisma Access Health Checks, which will help our customers to improve visibility into their Prisma Access environment. Next slide, please. Now, before I jump into health checks overview, the question that really comes in is why there was a need to add Prisma Access health checks in BPA, right? So prior adding this capability in BPA, only a handful of all Prisma Access customers who had CS coverage were able to get access to manual health checks or health checks every quarter. So there was a very small subset of customers who were able to get those health checks done for their Prisma Access environment, right? Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, even though health checks really help those handful of Prisma Access customers to look deep into the health of their Prisma Access, but there were some challenges associated with it, right? So these health checks reports were done manually and were limited to smaller number of customers, as I highlighted earlier, right? And the amount of time and effort that went into to analyze and to go over multiple touch points with customers and to create a health check report, it took weeks. So our customers really had to wait for a couple of weeks, or not even weeks, a month, to get those reports to them, right? And this is why it was so important. No, thank you. And this is why it was so important to leverage tools such as BPA to automate Prisma Access health checks to save time of our customers and to bring the value of health checks to all our Prisma Access customers and on their schedule. Next slide, please. Thanks. Now, as you all know, that Prisma Access provide consistent security to remote networks and mobile users. Thus, health checks of Prisma Access became essential in establishing a solid foundation upon which network security infrastructure is built. Now, which will help our customers to identify weakest areas. It will also recommend the appropriate action to mitigate any potential risk, similarly to what BPA does today, right? So now there are several benefits of adding this capability into BPA report, though I've highlighted the ones that are most impactful, right? So health checks are the way to build a robust security posture by looking deep into the health and capability adoption that really helps to drive confidence at our customers level, right? And it also helps to see overall health of Prisma Access infrastructure, leading to improved security posture, and helps to create a positive customer experience, right? Also, automation of health checks through BPA provides results in a quick and easy way that leads to reduced time for our customers to access reports. And it also brings the value of Prisma Access health checks to all of our customers on their schedule, right? It also helps to plan for the future by helping our customers to understand their network security inside out, which gives our customers greater control and flexibility while creating the roadmap of their security infrastructure. And it also helps to reduce overall infrastructure and connectivity related issues as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as you might be aware of this portal, which is called as Customer Success Portal or Customer Support Portal, excuse me. So usually if you have to, or if you want to generate a BPA report, you usually log into Customer Support Portal, click on Best Practice Assessment under Tools, and then upload your tech support files, right? So once you're logged in into the Customer Support Portal, there is an option called Best Practice Assessment under Tools on the left navigation, right? And once you click on it, you will be asked to upload a latest tech support file. And once file is uploaded, it will take you through numbered steps before it generates and download a BPA report. Right. Next slide, please. Thanks. So once tech support file is uploaded to a BPA tool, it will provide an option whether you would like to generate a report as a Strata or Prisma Access. Now, the key point to note here is this option will only appear if you upload a Prisma Access tech support file, because of the fact that in the tech support file, if the Prisma Access plugin is enabled, then only you will see this option, right? Otherwise, you won't see this option where it will ask you to select or make a selection between Strida or Prisma Access. Now, once we select Prisma Access, it will generate, a BPA tool will generate and download a folder which contains a BPA report in HTML format, an executive summary in PDF format, and a failed best practice check report in XLS format. Next slide, please. Thank you. Right, so this is how actual BPA report looks like, right? And I've highlighted some of the key points that show or that differentiate a Prisma Access BPA report compared to a Strida or a Panorama BPA report, right? So over here, you can see on the top left-hand side, it will say Prisma, and towards the center, top center of the screen, it will say global filters, right? So that's how you differentiate between a standard or between a Prisma Access BPA report and Strida or Panorama BPA report. Next slide, please. Thank you. So we launched this feature in mid of June of this year. And during our phase 1, we added these health checks into Prisma Access BPA report, right? And we added more and more health checks into BPA report. And till date, we have a total of 59 health checks that are supported by BPA for Prisma Access health checks, right? So anytime if you generate a Prisma Access BPA report now, you will see an option where you can see the health checks. And I'll go through feature overview, how and where you can locate those health checks, right? Next slide, please. These are additional Prisma Access health checks that were added to Prisma Access BPA report, right? That contributed to total 59 health checks. Next slide, please. All right, so I'll quickly go over feature overview. So anytime now you generate a BPA report for Prisma Access, as soon as you open that HTML report, you will see this new notification where it will tell you that, hey, we have added a new feature, which is called as Prisma Access Health Checks. And if you wanted to learn more about this health check or this feature, please click on the link provided below under feature details. And that link will take you to our BPA Live community page where we have a blog about Prisma Access Health Checks, and all the details are there about Prisma Access Health Check in that blog, right? So that's there. Next slide, please. Awesome, thank you. So when it came to add a health check into a BPA report, we wanted to drive the exact same user experience that we have today in BPA, right? So our customers can easily navigate without having to put in a lot of effort to understand where exactly they need to look at, what to look at, and how to process all that information, right? So we kept all those components in our mind before we started designing or adding these health checks into a BPA report, right? So as you know that BPA has two main components, the best practice assessment itself and the adoption heat map, right? So when you select or when you click on best practice assessment, under that option, you will see service health as a new tab, right? As you can see over here, I have highlighted, it's called a service health. So once you click on the service health, it will open a screen where it will show you all the past and failed checks. In this case, it will be a health check, not best practice checks, right? So towards the center of the report, you will be able to see a number of failed and past health checks, and the numbers in the red circles in the left column and along the top column indicates the failed checks for their configuration types, right? So exact similar experience, exact similar way to navigate what we have today for our best practice checks, right? Next slide, please. Thanks. Now, if you also would like to see additional information about failed health checks, such as the rationale, recommendation, action to fix the issue, you can click on the question mark in front of every health checks, and that will take you to this screen, which it's like a pop-up screen, similarly to best practice assessment checks, and it will give you all the description, rationale behind those health checks, right? Next slide, please. Awesome, thank you. So we also wanted to provide overall results for the health check, right? So instead of just looking at what passed, what failed, we also wanted to provide how much percentage, right? Or as you may say, like a 30,000 foot overview of how they're doing in each areas, right? So as you can see under these charts, we have classified into different categories. One is like infrastructure, then connectivity, and then security, right? And each of the areas we have provided definition below the graph, right? So like infrastructure, as you can see, it says optimize the implementation, integration, and scaling of the product. So it was really important for us to provide these definitions along with the graph, because maybe depending on the customer type, right? So you might be a healthcare industry customer, might be an MSSP customer, or might be a federal customers. So every customers have their own definitions of what they call as infrastructure or what they call as connectivity. So we really wanted to provide that definition so that it's easy to understand what exactly we are referring to when we say as infrastructure or connectivity, right? So over here, customers can see how they are doing in each of the areas. And in the parentheses is the percentage change in the adoption since your last BPA report. Now, which will help you to identify progress and rate of improvement of your Prisma Access Health Check. So exact same experience what we have today for our best practice assessment checks, right? Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, HealthScheck's report will also provide a view where users can see a trending section, now which shows previous reports and tracks the health, showing improvement or if there is any lack of or change in the percentage, right? Now, this is key to drive successful implementation of all the health checks for better security outcomes of your network security, right? Next slide, please. Now, this is my favorite slide, right? So under adoption heat map, if you click on adoption heat map, there will be a summary tab, and under summary tab, we'll see this, which is called a service heat map or health heat map, right? Now here, color-coded heat map shows where health of Prisma Access is strong and where it can be improved, right? So the percentage value is based on the total number of allowed roles. The higher the percentage, the higher the adoption of those security capabilities within your operating environment. And if something is not adopted, then it shows as 0% or no color. Or if something is adopted and there are configurations which is not up to what it should be as per the health checks, then it would show as 0%. Or if it matches certain criteria, then the numbers would change, right? Depending on how much percentage you have adopted. And this is like one of the best slide go-to areas where we usually look at from a very high level overview how we are doing in each of the areas, right? Whether it's infrastructure, connectivity, or security. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, I also really wanted to share some of the useful resources that we have related to Prisma Access health checks in BPA. And I would highly recommend to go over all these resources. So I have added our blog posts related to health checks. I have added how to generate a Prisma Access BPA report. And there is also our YouTube channel where we have added a demo video of how to navigate, how to generate a BPA report, and how to navigate all the health checks, right? And as always, we have our live community page, which is BPA Live community page. We have updated all the release notes, which we have done in past 2 months. And in all the release notes, we have added all the health checks that are supported in all those specific releases. So anytime if you have any questions, please feel free to add your comment under those release notes. I personally manage all those blog posts, those release notes. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us as bpa@paloaltonetworks.com. Myself and my team, we closely look at that email alias. If anytime, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to help you out. That's it. Well, thank you so much for your time. Back to you, Wendy.